Did you know that reading a book might slow down your biological aging almost as much as going for a run? Or that something as simple as visiting a museum, listening to music, or engaging with the arts could actually make your body younger at a cellular level? Now, as a critical care doctor, I spend most of my time looking after patients when things have already gone wrong. Heart attacks, strokes, organ failure. These are often the end result of processes that have been developing silently for decades. That's why I'm always interested in research that looks at how we might slow down aging before disease develops. And a fascinating new study suggests that one of the most powerful anti-aging interventions might not be found in a gym or a supplement bottle. It might be found in a library. Let's take a look at what the researchers found. The study was conducted by researchers at University College London and published in the journal Innovation in Aging. The researchers wanted to answer an interesting question. Can engaging with arts and cultural activities actually slow biological aging? Notice I said biological aging, not chronological aging. We all know our chronological age. That's simply how many birthdays we've had. But biological age is different. Biological age is an estimate of how old your body actually is on the inside. We've all met people who seem remarkably young for their age, and others who seem much older than the number on their birth certificate. Scientists have been trying to measure this for years. One of the most promising methods involves looking at changes in our DNA. Now, before anyone worries, your DNA sequence isn't changing. What changes are tiny chemical markers attached to the DNA. These markers act a little like sticky notes that tell genes when to switch on and off. This process is called DNA methylation. As we age, these methylation patterns change in predictable ways. Researchers can use these changes to estimate biological age using what are known as epigenetic clocks. Think of them as highly sophisticated biological aging calculators. In this study, researchers examined 7 different epigenetic clocks. They analyzed blood samples and survey data from more than 3,500 adults in the United Kingdom. The participants were asked about their engagement with arts and cultural activities. These included things like reading books, listening to music, attending concerts, visiting museums, going to galleries, and participating in other cultural pursuits. The researchers then compared these activities with their biological aging markers found in the participants' DNA, and the results were surprisingly consistent. People who engaged more frequently in arts and cultural activities appeared to age more slowly. Not only that, but those who participated in a wider array of activities also seemed to benefit more. Now, here's the finding that really caught my attention. The researchers found that people who engaged in arts-related activities at least once a week appeared to age up to 4% more slowly than people who rarely participated. And remarkably, the effect was similar in magnitude to what has been observed with regular physical exercise. Now, that doesn't mean reading a novel is a substitute for going to the gym, so don't cancel your gym subscription after watching this video. But it does suggest that healthy aging may involve more than simply taking care of the body. It also involves taking care of the mind. When researchers looked at one of the aging clocks in more detail, they found a dose-response relationship. So that means people who engage with the arts at least 3 times a year appear to age around 2% more slowly. Monthly engagement was associated with roughly 3% slower aging. Weekly engagement was associated with approximately 4% slower aging. In other words, the more regularly people participated, the greater the apparent benefit. Another aging clock revealed something even easier to understand. People who engaged in arts and cultural activities at least once a week were biologically about 1 whole year younger than those who rarely took part. 1 year younger. Not based on how they looked, not based on how they felt, but based on measurable biological markers within their DNA. Now, whenever I discuss studies like this, I think it's important to take a step back and ask an obvious question. How could reading books or visiting museums possibly affect aging? The answer is that aging isn't just a physical process. It's also influenced by stress, inflammation, cognitive stimulation, emotional well-being, and social connection. And arts activities often combine many of these factors. Reading stimulates the brain, music influences emotion and stress responses. Museums and cultural events encourage learning, curiosity movement, and often social interaction. These are all factors that may affect long-term health. In fact, previous research has already shown that arts engagement can reduce stress hormones, lower inflammation, and improve cardiovascular health. Those are the same pathways through which exercise is thought to provide many of its benefits. And what I found particularly interesting is that different activities may contribute in different ways. Reading challenges cognition. Music influences emotion. Visiting museums often combines learning, movement, and social engagement. So there may not be a single magic ingredient. Instead, the benefit may come from combining multiple forms of stimulation that help keep both the brain and body healthy. Now, before we all start declaring museums the fountain of youth, it's important to remember the limitations of this study. This was an observational study. It shows an association, not proof of cause and effect. It's possible that healthier people are simply more likely to engage in cultural activities. The researchers did account for many factors, but studies like this can never completely eliminate that possibility. However, the findings fit remarkably well with a growing body of evidence suggesting that remaining mentally, socially, and emotionally engaged is an important part of healthy aging. As a doctor, I often talk to patients about exercise, blood pressure, cholesterol, sleep, smoking, and diet. And don't get me wrong, those things remain absolutely essential, but perhaps we should also be talking about curiosity, about lifelong learning, about reading, about music, about maintaining hobbies and interests that challenge and stimulate the brain. Because healthy aging may not be simply about adding years to your life. It may also be about adding life to those years. So I'd like to hear from you. What do you do to keep your mind active? Do you read regularly? Do you play an instrument? Do you visit museums? Do you listen to music? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I make evidence-based videos based on also my own experience that help you understand the science of health, aging, and disease so you can make better decisions for your healthy future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.